If you're a guy over the age of 40, feeling as though time is slipping away, wondering whether or not it's too late for you to attract an amazing woman, I get it. You might have convinced yourself that the dating game has changed or that you're simply too old for this. You've likely tried the dating apps, but they didn't work. You don't want to be hanging around dingy nightclubs until 3 a.m. and the women in your social circle, they just aren't the women that you really want. Now, the idea of cold approaching may seem daunting, especially when you're over 40. You might find yourself questioning if you still have what it takes to attract the women that you actually want, like the women who are younger than you. And this self-doubt keeps you in analysis paralysis. Yeah, you don't put yourself out there because you're thinking too many steps ahead. I've worked with men just like you, and I know the fears and the doubts that you're experiencing. But I've also witnessed incredible transformations when they take the right steps. Take my client Mark, for instance. At 52 years old, he was convinced that his best years were behind him. But after working together, he shifted from hesitating on the sidelines to confidently approaching women. And now he's in a thriving long-term relationship with an incredible partner. Another one of my clients, Graham, who many of you will know, had similar doubts. At 50 years old, Graham was watching his friends settle down, starting families, and this left him thinking, have I missed the boat? Graham had never had a serious relationship in his entire life. He was terrified of talking to women, especially in a daytime setting, and he was worried it was too late for him to change. But within a week of us working together, Graham cold approached a 25-year-old woman. They instantly hit it off. She became his girlfriend, and the two of them have just celebrated their 1-year anniversary. The reason I'm sharing these stories is to prove to you change is not only possible, but achievable, even when you feel as though the odds are stacked against you. So how do you actually overcome that fear of cold approaching women as a guy in your 40s and start to get real results like Mark and Graham? First of all, let's shift your mindset. Understand this. Your age is not a limitation, it's an asset. Right now, you have the life experience, the depth, the emotional intelligence that many young men are still working to figure out. You've lived through experiences that have shaped you, that have given you wisdom and have made you the man you are today. That's powerful. Younger men may have energy, but they often lack the emotional intelligence, depth, and life experiences that you've acquired. You know how to navigate life's challenges. You've built a career, you've developed resilience, you've gained insights that only come from experiencing life's ups and downs. This makes you incredibly attractive to the right women, especially younger women who are often drawn towards maturity and stability. Think about it. Women want a leader. They want a man who's grounded, and they want someone who can provide emotional stability. Your age gives you a natural edge because you've been there. Yeah, you've seen more, you've done more, you've learned more, and I want you to start seeing your age not as a limitation, but as a secret weapon. And this is why I remind my clients all the time, it's not your age that's holding you back, it's your perception of it. Let me tell you another story about one of my clients, Jazz, who went through an incredible transformation earlier this year. When he first reached out to work with me, Jazz was 43 years old and he'd just come out of a difficult divorce. For years, his negative self-talk had held him back. He didn't think he had permission to approach younger women. He felt as though it wasn't something that a man his age was allowed to do. Jazz had built this mental prison for himself. He believed that because of his age and because of his past, he couldn't have the women that he truly wanted. And so he was destined to settle for the women he thought he could get. When he first applied to work with me, Jazz's biggest desire wasn't just to date again. It was to be free. Free from that voice inside of his head, which was telling him he wasn't good enough and he was too old to be dating younger women. He wanted control over his dating life rather than being a victim of that negative self-talk. So we worked on breaking down the walls that he had built around himself. I helped him see that the only limit on the women who he could approach were the ones that he created. Once he gave himself permission to approach, permission to believe as though he deserved to connect with younger women, it was like flipping a switch. Within just 1 week of us working together, Jazz's entire mindset completely transformed. He no longer felt held back by his age or by his past experiences. And here's the best part. Within that first week of us working together, now that Jazz had gave himself the permission to act in accordance with his ambitions, no longer held back by that incessant self-doubt, he cold approached a 19-year-old, stunning 19-year-old Brazilian girl, and she was instantly attracted to his maturity, his authenticity, and his confidence. She then became his girlfriend, and this completely transformed the way that he perceived himself. He realized in that moment that age was never the issue, it was his mindset.
Genuinely, I just told Kristen I had one of the best months of my life. I just recently had one of the best months of my life. And I'm like, I know for a fact, if I hadn't spent that money, I wouldn't have turned around physically and metaphorically and took the action I've recently took that has had such a ripple effect in my life that I called you the other day and I left you a message. And I said, mate, I'm sat here and I could cry. I literally, I'm so happy because I'm like, and I know some stuff, you know, and I've done some pretty cool stuff, but I'm like, I feel like I'm awake because it hurt. I was forced into action to push past this self-imprisonment.
Right, now let's talk about how you can actually apply this. I've developed a simple framework for cold approaching women that works, even if you feel out of practice. 1. Confidence. Confidence isn't about being over the top, and it's not about being flashy. It's about approaching women with a sense of self-assurance, which comes from knowing your worth. It means walking up to a woman with the belief that you genuinely deserve her attention and interest. When you approach women with this mindset, you're not seeking their approval. Instead, you're inviting them to engage with someone who values himself and what he brings to the table. Remember, you have a wealth of life experience, emotional depth, and stability to offer, and these things are incredibly attractive to women. 2. Curiosity. Lead with genuine interest. All right, this was a game changer for Graham. For years, Graham was always worried about saying the wrong thing, about embarrassing himself in conversations, and this kept him paralyzed when approaching women. But once he started to focus on being genuinely curious about the women that he was meeting, this anxiety started to be alleviated. Women responded to his authentic interest, and this led to deeper, more meaningful connections. In practical terms, being curious means moving beyond surface level small talk. Instead of just asking the women who you're speaking with, "What do you do?" think about questions which invite deeper conversation. For instance, you might ask her, what is something you're really passionate about, and how did you become interested in that in the first place? This then encourages her to share something more meaningful, allowing the two of you to connect on a deeper personal level. Also, pay attention to what she says. If she mentions something intriguing, then follow up with a question which allows her to go deeper on that particular topic. This not only shows that you're interested in her as a person, it also gives her a chance to express herself. And this is something women truly appreciate. One of my favorite mantras is men become aroused through their eyes, women become aroused through their ears. Like, if you can truly take the time to get to know these women, find out who they are beneath the beauty, then this is going to enable your relationships with the feminine to hit that deeper emotional level. 3, conviction. Finally, approach the women who you really want to meet with full conviction. Conviction is about being clear and intentional in your actions and not second guessing yourself. My client Mark had always held back. He would often approach women who he considered the safe option rather than going after the women he really wanted because he was terrified of being rejected. But once I helped him embrace conviction, he began approaching the women he actually liked with full confidence, and that was a game changer for him. When you approach women with full conviction, they can feel that energy, they can feel that certainty, and this is what sets you apart. Now you might be thinking, all right, Christian, this all sounds amazing, but will this work for me? What if I'm too set in my ways? Or am I truly capable of transforming my dating life at this age? And look, it's natural to have doubts about your ability to transform. The men I've worked with, like Mark, Graham, Jazz, they've all faced these same uncertainties. But with the right guidance and support, they turn their doubt into confidence and have completely transformed their dating lives. Today, they're in fulfilling relationships with women who appreciate them for who they are, and it all began with them taking that first step. So if you would like my help to undergo a similar transformation, you want to skip all the trial and error and just be given a proven system which gets results, then hit the link below and apply to work with me.
I would say the thing that really drew me to wanting to work with Christian was his banter. His banter with the girls. I want to see the coach actually doing it for real, not just a coach sitting in a room talking about it. I actually want to see them actually approach girls and get numbers and stuff. But I'd say the banter, definitely. It's just better than any other coach I've seen, to be honest with you.